Welcome to The Game Changers, a series of powerful programs serving people who positively transform every relationship and situation by accepting personal responsibility for their professional, relational, financial, and physical wellness. Benefit from being reinvigorated and take yourself to a whole new level. Disrupt the status quo and take personal responsibility for your life. In The Game Changers, you'll learn to live in chaos, unleash untapped potential, focus on positive behaviors, awaken and empower yourself, become outcome focused, thrive in challenging environments, and take your relationships to the next level. Sponsored by Olive Media Network, the Entrepreneurs Network, and the CEO. Now, please welcome your host, Dianne Ojar.
Welcome to another episode of The Game Changers. I am so super excited to be with you today and my guest, who has a little different concept, I might say, and I am very intrigued to hear the reaction responses to many people that she served. For those who don't know me, my name is Dianne Ojar, and apart from being what I'm doing right now, I'm also an author. I also dabble over 10 years in NLP, hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, Dow hands, you name it, I do it. I'm a solutionist, and I love sharing with people the ultimate experiential breakthrough experience. Because believe me, we're all about results. And tell me, how can I help you feel good today? Today, as a disclaimer, this is all about our conversations, our experiences, suggestions. We're not here to convince anyone. However, if you believe that it's going to help you, it may change something, just be asked, you be open, share a comment, to like, because this is how we feed off the energy, and you never know. You never know, you might be on the show one day for all you know. So today, we're going to have some fun. We always have fun. We love to have conversations. I was saying to Kelly here, Kelly Ryan, welcome to the show. We don't script anything here. We just go with the flow. And that's what she is. She said, let's go with the flow. So welcome to the show, The Game Changers, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited.
Lovely. Well, first of all, and it's my pleasure. It's also our pleasure as the audience as well. You never know really who's going to be listening, right? So we have.
Yeah, you gotta hope that I guess whoever's listening needs to hear the message.
Yes, doesn't have to be every single thing we say, but something may open to the consciousness, and that's all we're here to do. Thank you. So first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, certified culinary nutrition expert, certified virtual coach. I have a background in cooking and quality auditing. And basically, I help companies level up the health and wellness of their employees and leaders so that they can feel focused, productive, creative at work, but still have the energy for fun at home and have some fun doing that.
That's great. So first of all, let's break that down. You pick up yourself and you go to the workplace with your pots and pans and ingredients and maybe your electric stoves or burners, and they receive this. And some of them may have kitchens, but it's small.
Mm-hmm.
What are their reactions when you approach them with this concept? And I know it's one will be welcoming because it's something different. And again, if you have a healthy team, productive team at the bottom line, that's the most important, because I really truly believe in we're not just bosses. Nobody works for us, well, sometimes, but we work together for the common cause is really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you take an interest on their health, because I always believe in being a manager, CEO is like really babysitting people, and they suck the energy out of you sometimes. However, if you give them the opportunity to take part in something like this, the appreciation goes way above because most people don't do that. And many companies will say, well, I don't have a budget for that. But if you really care about your clients, and I guess this goes to more SME, smaller clients and businesses, this is where you work with, or maybe medium to as well, or departments. So let's go with that. So you pick up everything and you take it there. But tell us first, before we get to that journey, what you do. When you approach corporations, what is their response to this concept?
You know, I've had a lot of really good response with this. And whether it's a cooking demo or a live talk or helping companies with their actual health and wellness program, or even, trying to facilitate a workshop where you're helping them with habit change, there's so many different ways to help a company with their health and wellness. But some of the fun ones are, I've got a couple of fun live talks, and the cooking demos are definitely fun because, it is something a little bit different, and you can do really interesting things. I had one company who the whole company was made up of, like, they all love Star Wars. And well, as I think your listeners can't see, but as you can see, I'm a
The
total
force be
Star
with
Wars.
you. Yes.
May the force be with you,
Yeah,
and my little
yeah,
my
absolutely.
R2D2 there in
Yes.
my background. Yeah. And so we created a Star Wars themed cooking demo, right? And they recorded it and put it on their internal drive, and it was a lot of fun. So it's about making healthy living fun and enjoyable, because I think a lot of people are afraid to try different recipes, or to know, like, it's like when you were younger, are eggs good for you? Are eggs bad for you? What should I be eating? And there's a lot of information and misinformation out there. And so trying to create healthy habits has become a huge stressor. And for healthy living purposes, you don't want to feel stressed, right? So I'm all about making it practical, fun, enjoyable, so that people can start making these changes. And when companies learn the link between like their employees and leaders living healthy, and the importance of supporting your employees, and how then your employees can show up, it's huge for them, right? So
I have a question. Did you dress up like Princess Leia?
that's a good question. No, I didn't. Not in this
Yeah,
case.
you didn't do the hair. You have long hair.
I
You
didn't.
didn't do the
I
hair
know.
and
I
stuff.
probably could do the hair. I never thought about that.
See? Oh my
I
goodness.
could.
So do
Maybe
you
that could be a thing.
Yes, absolutely. You can do that in corporate. Who doesn't know Star Wars? Who doesn't love Star Wars? Do you get the bosses to take part? Because I could imagine how hilarious that could be for the employees watching their bosses, probably especially those who can cook, just having fun. It's a fun day. It's a fun just to let go, relax, and see another side of whoever the leadership is. There's no question about
It's
that.
Yeah, it's so important for the leadership to get involved, because the fact is that people don't do what we say, they do what we do. And if you want to inspire your employees and leaders to live a healthy lifestyle, you got to do that too, and you have to be involved. And doing things like having a wellness committee, you need people at every level, right? If you're encouraging coffee walks or walking meetings, you need to do that too as a leader, right? I mean, you need to lead, right? And that can't just be work. That needs to be all of it, including the health and wellness, And so participating in these fun activities is important. Even if you can't do it all, if you've got a team of leaders, have the different leaders participate over time or something like that. But it needs to be seen as being supported at all levels.
Absolutely. And it's the morale of the whole group, the organization, or they have the barbecues and so forth. You come out, you put on your apron, your, crazy hats. Let's see, people see the human side of you. It's not only about delegating and just want to sit down and have a conversation, because title is one. That's okay. You could work to be the owner or maybe the CEO or the manager, but it's a title. And
Yeah.
you only have that title if you're there.
Yeah.
If you're not there,
Yeah. Yeah. And the other side of the coin too is, even though, yes, there's a whole you need to be a leader part, but guess what? As an owner or a leader, you need to be on your game. You need to be at your best. So it's good for you too.
oh,
So
absolutely. Absolutely. It comes from the top as an example. So if you don't have your health, which is your wealth is not your
mhm.
money or your success. Your health is your wealth. There's no way in the world you'll be able to run your business. And you have to
Oh,
be
exactly.
100%. And again, you can delegate people, but no one's going to take care of your business better than you. Now, you may know what
Hmm.
you're doing, you may not know what you're doing. That's why you're hired the guys with for the big bucks and so forth. But at the end of the day, you really have to say, okay, guys, what are we doing here? Regardless if you're a public company or you're not public or you're a private enterprise, the fact is you have to be at the end of the day when you go home and you take off the suit and everything else. And it's okay, like for example, to go to work with, business casual from time to time. It also brings up the morale and say, okay, you're comfortable, we're working, we're going to roll our sleeves up. But tell me, how else can I help you in order for you to feel good about yourself? Because, first of all, if they eat healthier and I have resources, they wouldn't get as sick as much. It'd be cost effective. Time wise, it saves them time. So you come in now and say, guys, here's some 5-minute meals. It can happen, 5-minute meals. Yeah, we got air fryers now, okay? So anything is possible, I suppose. But it's a healthier choice in lifestyle. We just want people to know that we care about
Hmm.
who you are and we appreciate what you do for us. So
Yeah.
have you ever had anyone who has said, no, this is not for us, this is not for me? Because
Um, not, no, this isn't for us or isn't for me, but maybe a more not like a not right now kind of thing. And that's understandable. Now, in all honesty, I think everybody can start from day one. I mean, I'm a solopreneur and I'm already starting to try and, well, I'm taking care of myself, obviously, but, I'm even starting to create my own policies and procedures. And that's going to be a part of it. And every time, like your policies and procedures your health and wellness program can literally start with just you, or when you have a small team. It's just as you do stuff, document it. That's all, you know. And then as you grow, you can start adding in different offerings and stuff like that. But, even with a team of 2 or 3, you can have walking meetings and that costs nothing. You can do a step challenge, which costs nothing, you know. You could do a healthy potluck again, which you have to eat anyways, so doesn't cost any more, So even when you're really small, there's a lot you can do to get you started, and I mean, that's actually a great time to start deciding certain things. Like, do you want your employees to be able to work remotely? Do you have a time of day when you're going to tell them, okay, guys, shut off, like step away? And encourage disconnection from devices? Do you have a thought of diversity, equity, and inclusion? These are all things that you can start thinking about when you're younger or when you're in early stages. And it comes back to your values, right? What are your values for you and your company? So I'm not sure if I answered that question. I think I went on a tangent.
Oh, no, not at all. There's no right or wrong here, Kelly. We know absolutely there's no right or wrong. Definitely. The point is you're aware and you're conscious about everything around you and you care. Basically,
Yeah.
they just want to know that you care and you're listening to that and you listen to their cries and sometimes they need a break. There must be a story behind the story. There must be a
Yes.
story behind the story. Corporate got burnt out, something. So you saw, and this is what the Game Changers is all about. For those who are just joining us, we're here with Kelly Ryan. She is a executive chef, cook, a corporate. She goes in and she comes into your company and teach you healthy habits, lifestyle when it comes to food. And she has a show with her kids. Isn't that awesome? On
Yeah.
a major local television. So, what's the story behind the story that you probably quit everything and decided to do this? There must be something you're not telling us. So, please do share.
Oh yeah, there's always a story, isn't there? Um, so I've always loved food and talking about health and wellness. I can remember even when I was, oh my goodness, really young, I want to say 11 or 13, saying to mom, okay, mom, like you gotta stop buying white bread. So I think I first made my first omelet when I was 11. So I was always into food and health and wellness. But when let me see, when my daughter was born, I was looking at her and I was like, you're a little clean slate, right? And I wanted to best help her with her, keep her healthy. So I decided to go back to school and learn about natural nutrition. And I became a certified holistic nutritional consultant at that time. And then after my little guy was born, my energy tanked because I wasn't taking care of myself. Um, and there was a day I can remember where my kids were fighting about something that kids fight about. I was completely depleted because I wasn't taking care of myself like I knew how. My husband was working weird hours and I was cooking supper. And like I said, they were fighting about something that kids fight about. And I got upset with them. And I'm not the type of person to get upset, right? And they started crying. And I felt so guilty that I literally sat down on one of their little red Lego chairs and just bawled my eyes out. And I was like, okay, this isn't me. This isn't what I thought being a mom was going to be like. So I knew then I needed to make changes. And from there, I went on a journey where I started really taking care of my own health, which from then led to me working with families, actually. But working one-to-one was difficult, and I was going through my own issues in corporate where I didn't feel like I was being treated properly. And I struggled with having, I didn't feel like my health and wellness and mental health and whatnot was being supported. Which is when I decided, okay, that's it. It's time for me to go out on my own. And I have all of the tools to help companies support their own employees. And that's sort of where I am now today is because of all of that. now helping companies. I recently heard someone actually say, I can't remember who the original quote came from, but someone recently said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I loved that. That really stuck with me because the fact is, I mean, a company's job is to make money, but having a strategic culture and supporting that culture, you know, makes for a better workplace, makes for happier employees, supported employees, and happier supported employees are going to do more for the company, So yeah, it's like a full circle kind of thing, right? So yeah.
Well, we know the bottom line for many companies to make money. That's how they, live to survive. They can thrive. They can do other philanthropy work or whatever they choose to do. However, it doesn't run by itself. Now, you can put on a resume or CV or whatever you want to call it, on a piece of napkin, a paper, whatever you want to put, the best resume you can possibly have. And you can fool some. But when you sit down in that desk and you can't live up and perform, and your mood swings and your everything else and your health, things start to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, there are guidelines. They just can't let you go just because they can, but it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Now, that becomes a strain. I don't want to say the word burden because it's not a burden. It's a strain on the other parties, the co-workers, the management team, and everyone else because you're not producing. Now, they are company, and I always say this, and I'm going to say this. If you're not, we have different archetypes, obviously, personalities. If you're not the type of person to work with people, you should not be working with people. If you're not the type of person who is into customer service, you should not be working in customer service.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. That's more, we're looking at the left brain, the right brain. The right brain is more the fun person looking at a food chain store or a drive through. That takes a different personality because you can breathe. You're not
Yeah.
stifled. They work with a system. But on the logical, analytical side of the left brain, you have people who are so regimented. And if you're too, if you're perfectionist, it can hurt you and it can hurt everyone around you. However, if somebody recognizes as a human side of it, there's something that maybe need to be tweaked because you're not broken. We keep saying that, this. That is where, if you do a simple thing like bring in someone to say, okay, tell me what's going on. Do you eat? When do you eat?
Mm-hmm.
Probably
Do you
teach them
drink
how to.
water?
Well, what is the staple of everything? Do you snack? Maybe you should need a snack. Because we don't take the time to educate ourselves. We hear things left, right, and center, and we want to follow the diets, want to follow everything. But if I take the time and say, let me bring out Kelly to show us, maybe these are some of the things keep your energy going.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised over time there's going to be a different trust. People are going to look at you differently because you took the time, and it could be what, an hour, 2 hours of someone's months to help them.
Yeah.
Your revenues will go up because you ask the question, you recognize it, and you wanted to help.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
most companies don't do that. You may have breakout times, you may have potlucks, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. It's appreciation and saying, I value who you are, but tell me what's going on. Now, not every manager or CEO will have the opportunity to do that, but there's many of them with huge corporations who actually take the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking about small companies here. We're talking about their doors are open.
Yeah.
So it is something that's lacking for you to pick up your pots and pans to go out there on site to show them, because it's more cost effective in the long term for them if you come out as
Hmm.
opposed to you taking them somewhere else.
Yep.
So what are some
Well,
of the reactions to of the employees when you come in with your little pots and pans? I'm sure they have a little giggle and they have everything else and they have a fun, gay old time and they get to maybe eat some of the foods and taste it. What are their reactions to all of this?
oh, they love it. Like even just it's funny because they're always so surprised that it tastes good.
Well, they get probably an hour or two not to work. That's a whole nother
Yeah,
story. So there's legit.
that's yeah, yeah, that's another story. But yeah, like they're always like, "Oh, like this is actually good, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and it's made with real foods." Um and it's so funny because I was I was doing one, right? And this guy, you could see, he was like, "Can I have some more?" I'm like, "Yes, yes." It's like, I mean, it's just going in the garbage because I can't take it home with me. So, right. And I mean, you could sort of see him coming back again. Right? Like, "Can I have some more again?" I'm like, "Yes, eat it." Like, you know, and so that's one thing I find funny is how they're like they're always surprised that healthy eating can be fun, can be easy, can be practical, and it can be delicious, you know? Um and I think that's the funny thing. But I mean, yeah, I've had testimonials where like they're like, "Our kitchen smelled amazing." you know. And I mean, it's just fun, because having someone come in, you get, or like we're doing it live, like virtual, right? Either or. Um, you get the opportunity for more than just a recipe, right? I mean, anybody can print out a recipe, but there's certain tips and tricks when someone's made a recipe a gazillion times. Like with my woolly beast cookies, I tell everybody, okay, now make sure you soak the dates in hot water because they're just going to work better, right? And that's, even though that's in the recipe, um, just like reiterating that people, it's like you can give the reason why, or you can show, okay, this is how you hold your fingers so you don't cut them. You know what I mean? And um being able to do those things, and then people being able to ask questions like, "Oh, okay, well, but how do you know that the uh muffins are cooked, right? Because I've tried putting a knife in and I can never tell. And having that in-person experience really makes a difference. Or even, I mean, with a
Yeah.
live health and wellness talk, like being able to have that conversation, you know. I did one a little while ago where the guy, like one of the guys, he said, "I have trouble sleeping. I hamster wheel every night." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's talk it out." I mean, yeah, I have my slides, but it's going to be more valuable for us to talk out helping you sleep. And having a real person do that is so much more valuable than just watching a cooking show or trying to find the information yourself online, because everybody's a unique individual, and what you've got going on, somebody else might be completely different than somebody else, right? So
I totally agree. When I do events, sometimes I have a presentation and I'm like, okay, let's just have a conversation. And then sometimes I forget about the presentation or, I bypass it. Or I started to do less slides
mhm.
because if you have the slides, you have to go to the slides. Less slides,
Yes.
open slides where we can pause and have more conversation about it because we
Yeah.
know it's an open forum. But at the same time, when we have engagement, especially coming from corporate, you're not bothered about who's listening to you, your peers, nobody's making fun of you because they all have the same, some of them, most of them, all of them have the same question at some given point
Hmm.
in time.
Yeah.
Then eventually you get to know, we know we have a timing. You have to know your oven, you have to know your stove, you have to know your pot, you have to know your ingredients, and you have to know your recipe when
Yes.
things are going to. So you start with your gut and say, okay, we know it's like 20 minutes now. We're not supposed to open the oven. Well, don't open the oven. But you'll know. There are times when I would get up and I would say, okay, let me check on the timer because I didn't hit the timer. It's like within this last minute or two. So our body is in
Yeah.
tune to what we do, and we have to pay attention to what it is. So I get that. It's a cool concept to going out there to share it with others if they're willing to listen to. Do you have companies that share this information with others and say, my goodness, and you get referred from one company to another, say, guess what? We had Kelly came on and she was cooking. And do you have that?
I'm starting to get that. I actually had someone come up to me the other day and she was like, "Hey, it's the nerd mom. I can't remember your name." I'm like, "That's okay. I identify as the nerd mom. It's all good."
Why the nerd mom?
Because I'm a nerd, I'm a mom, and I'm a nutritionist.
Okay. So the nerd is all the paraphernalia you have out there with the Star Wars and everything else.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a big lover of like Star Wars video games. I have
Oh, so you're the
well,
cool mom, the
I'm
nerdy
the cool
cool
mom.
mom
Yeah.
with the kids playing games with the kids so they get permission and say, my mom could play the games too as well. So, I get an opportunity to do so and spend some.
Yeah.
How does the kids like doing the cooking show? They have a different lifestyle, healthier lifestyle, I'm assuming. And
Yeah.
because they're on TV, how people recognize them on TV of having the shows and they like having the attention.
Oh, they love it. And I've got little chef's jackets for them, and they've got their own names embroidered on their chef's jackets, which is really cute. And they help me come up with they're quite involved. Like they help me come up with the story a lot of times of the different recipes, so I'll be like, okay guys, we're making, I don't know, a parfait, so we need a name for the character, we need a story, like let's brainstorm, right? And I mean, we legit, the three of us chatted out. And next thing you know, we're making piggly parfaits because the health zapping supervillains are destroying the fruit forest. you know? And
I
so, I
will,
mean,
I will not even attempt to repeat what you just said in terms of all I heard was the word villains. You are a nerd. You are
I
a
am a
nerd
nerd.
in terms of that. But here's the thing. It's a cool, fun thing because people would resonate and say, okay, what's the theme this week? What crazy name is she going to come up with? Are they going to come up with? It's the same food you're making, but you bringing it to life. You bring it to a storyline, and
Yeah.
especially for TV, you have to be different and not just boring and boring. So I'm sure you probably have a lot of different characters or props that you have around to make it a little bit fun. I
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
like that. And the kids, you must shop a lot into getting all these fun little characters and so forth and come up, you know, with simple, I'm just going to say crazy thing, puppet hands or create or it's just to be fun, engaging, but it's going to be something that you're not going to forget. You may not remember the recipe, but you're going to remember the character that goes with
Yeah.
the recipe, the name. I would not pretend to say I remember anything that you just said in terms of that name. But that's really cool. So your audience in the TV show part of it, what are their response and their feedback in terms of the way you do it? Because again, like I said, as a game changer, you gotta think outside the box. And being a nerd and a mom, but the nerd side is what's really driving this, the force. You really live up to the force. This is the force behind it, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, the feedback has been fantastic. That like every now and then, every couple weeks or so, the kids will come home and they'll say, oh, so and so in my class is watching the show, and blah blah blah. But everybody I've heard so far has loved the show. It's been great. And something really cool, which I thought was just amazing, is I heard feedback from some of the heads up at Rogers, has like in Ontario,
Yeah.
heads up, you know.
I've been at Rogers. I've been at Rogers, and yes,
Oh, okay.
it's a community channel as well, but
Yeah.
very prominent. Yes.
Yeah, very prominent. But yeah, some of the people, like some of the heads up, have watched my show, and really liked it and given very positive feedback on it. And Rogers has been fantastic with helping me learn and grow as somebody who has their own show. So I have to admit, like, I have to give props to them, because they've really worked with me um on how to make the show better, how to make it a great product, and what it is today. So yeah, they've been really wonderful. But yeah, it was pretty cool to have, one of the bigwigs at Rogers say that they watched the show and give me positive feedback and a couple of suggestions. So that was amazing.
It's here is the thing. You have, I mean, this is one platform, but you on a platform there that you can't put a price on that. That is, I know, regardless at the end of the day, the way it works for those, here we are talking with Kelly Ryan, who is a nerd mom, nutritionist, TV host, show with her kids and more, is the fact that although they may put up the investment and you turn around and deliver to the audience, at the end of the day, you're on one of probably the best platforms you can possibly think of, locally, that you would get recognition, and your doors should be, your phone should be ringing off the charts, even for, and I'm thinking nerds, mom, kids, you should be getting invited to a lot of parties and events to do these things private for the kids, because you got the kids side of it as well. So you should be really truly busy. Definitely.
It's it's getting busy. It's funny because I've started doing I'm also a kids yoga, story-based yoga teacher. So I don't do that as much anymore. And I don't do the family side as much anymore, because I really had to, it was getting too busy to a point where I had to almost choose one or the other. So I decided to focus on corporate. Mainly because you can help more people at the time, like when you're doing one-on-one, it's difficult to help as many people as I'd like to, because time is limited. You're trading time, you know,
Okay. Okay.
and
Well, let's
yeah.
talk about that for a moment. Let's be real
Okay.
here. For our audience, we talk crazy talk. We're talking to a nerd, so we're going to talk crazy talk here. And I'm just probably not as nerdy as she is, but we have to reach a point. Got to know where we want to go and where our worth and our value is. Yes, the stepping stones that you have had to work through and the recognition people wanted, and you'll do it from time to time. But at the end of the day, if you have a corporation is willing to pay you what you're worth, and please don't judge her and misunderstand what I'm saying. But yes, there's time, there's money, and there's energy. And one of the things we tend to do is we tend to stay on the lower level because we're comfortable there. But that comfortable is not going to pay most of our bills. That comfortable is not going to get to where you want. And you're right. You're changing different lives. The lives that most people tend to put aside. Maybe ignore is a strong word. However, you understand what I'm saying, that we don't acknowledge that they need help. Their parents, their moms, their dads, their children, they have their parents, how they take care of it. And we tend to forget that because we believe, oh no, somebody's going to take care of them. And that's not true. So I am very proud of you. And when you say you stick with the corporate and you
Mhm.
mold that craft. Because even if you do that, you know where the direction you want to go. And that's because you put your policies and everything in place of what you want to dream for. So and most people cannot say that. Yes, sometimes you have to say, I could do something for fun on the odd times, right? The odd time, because, you need to have fun as well and the kids and so forth. But it's not your main focus because that will drain the life out of you and it will shift your focus and pull you down and you get too taken up in all the little things that, around you, people contacting you. So that is huge focus. So good for you. And yes, the pri- the price is much, much better and healthier. So good. Don't Nobody should feel um guilty for doing that. If they pay you, they pay you. It also shows that they tell you what you're worth by they bringing you in there. So on a personal side, it's helping you understand who you are and what value you have to bring to the table.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, the way I look at it is there's families in corporate, so I still get to work with families. And, there's a lot of ways that I give back. Like the show, that's free. So I mean, people can go and watch that. It's free to watch, and if you don't have Rogers, you can see it on Rogers website, Rogers Newfoundland website. But I also like I'll do live talks for libraries, and even like if someone like I've had people that I know who've said, look, I'm having issues with getting my kids to eat, and I mean, I'll like quickly give them some information on that. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything to help someone when I'm just having a conversation with them, but I know my lane when it comes from a business standpoint of who I want to work with. And, I know that that's companies, but I mean, I do on occasion still take one-to-one clients
Of course.
when it speaks to me, when I'm like, okay, I want to work with you. But
Yeah.
that's picking and choosing.
Well, here's the other thing is I don't want anyone to misinterpret what I just said. So let me just clarify here. Yes, it's a niche corporate. However, that's a business side because you just said it. It's a business side, but there's also a service side because I don't want anybody to think, oh my gosh, she thinks she's all that and that's judgment. That's something on their own. That's their own personality. That's their own issue. But the other side to that is even through meeting people, you never know who you're going to bump into because at the end of the day, when somebody takes off the suit and tie and they're with their kids and they come up to you, you don't know who you're talking to. You really don't know who you're talking to or where they can lead you to and the connections. But that's your networking and that's your connections and of course the show. But it show, there's different levels and steps. The show is to bring the visibility and position yourself to open up and then again, that's one of it may bring you clients, it may not, but in the long term, and we always say be careful what you wish for because you can be so super bombarded and booked, and that's what you want. And you will get that. You will get that more and more as long as you focus and keep your focus where it's supposed to be. But yes, we do serve, but do know that we're worth something. Just like you go to a doctor, a lawyer, they're worth because you can't get to see them if you don't get paid. It's the same thing here. So
Yeah.
we're humans too as well, but we want to set an example as to where your time, what it's worth, your energy, because you got to know what your energy is worth, and you got to have the time to take care of yourself to have the energy. And of course, the money side of it is we don't focus much on the money, although most people do, but the money is not an issue. It's just exchanging time for energy, which is your service. So at the end of the day, we got to know what our time is worth per hour and how much energy we have to put into it. And you have that
Mhm.
diversity. and you're doing it and continue to explore that. So I wanted to make sure I wanted people to understand we're not saying we only corporate because that's what the big dollars are. Sometimes the big dollars are not there, but it's just opening the door to make other connections, is what it is when we talk about business now. So don't always assume she's getting the big bucks. No, there's a lot of work that's involved because you have to connect with them, you have to have meetings, and all these things happen. So good for you for that and knowing what you want and building it. You got to knock on Kelly's door. Um, yeah, the in person is better for this. Virtual, yeah, everybody looks at virtual, but to really have this experience where you literally in a room to take everybody's whatever is going on in your mind away from them for an hour or two makes a big difference. Huge. The personal interaction is different. Even myself, for what I do things virtually. But sometimes you want, of course, make sure you're safe, that you have that connection as well. Because you feed off that energy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely, And I mean, in person, especially with a cooking demo, is so much fun because you get the smells, you get to taste and stuff like that. But virtual is always a great second option. I did virtual cooking demos with people in Ontario.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not
Right?
saying no, I'm not talking about the
Yeah,
virtual. Yes, we have virtual, which has been
which
amazing.
is great. Yeah,
Great. But
but in person
nice
is
that
always wonderful.
in corporate particularly, it's nice to go out and show people that this can be done. It's like, having like a Tupperware party. Yeah, having a food
Mm,
party. And the
yeah,
most important thing
exactly.
is because when you're cooking in studio, the staff at the studio get to eat.
Yeah.
They get to eat, and I have lots of friends who are chefs and celebrity chefs and so forth, and they have the shows. And when you go somewhere, you have to eat. My son, he's a chef too as well. And
Oh,
back
awesome.
in the day, yeah, he's the manager of a kitchen of one of the prominent, and he's only 26, food chain.
Wow.
But the fact is, when he was about 16, 15, 16, he was going into grade 12. And I had arranged for him to be called the cooking apprentice. So we would go out to restaurants that I knew or approach. It was mostly we start with who we knew, and he would
Yeah.
cook with the chef. Some of them he watched them, and some of them he was able to cook. But guess what? My um, business partner at the time, we had to end up eating all the food. And it's just so much food you could eat. So sometimes if you go to 2 locations a day, it's a lot of food to eat. So we had to bring home the food and so forth. So I get it. I absolutely get it. Where do you see yourself moving from here, and who you're looking for right now? What, as a nerd mom, what do you want to happen in the next, let's say, 6 months?
In the next 6 months,
Yeah.
I'm growing my offerings where it's more than just live talks and cooking demos to actually helping with full health and wellness programs or helping companies plan out their health and wellness offerings for the year. I basically want to be a one-stop shop, all things corporate health and wellness. Um, Going out further than 6 months, I have a huge goal of having my own show on Food Network Canada. So I'm putting that out to the universe.
Yes, absolutely. And there's one thing we do in timeline is we set the intention, and we place the goal in the timeline, and it's done really quickly. But you must have a very clear outline of your goal using the SMART concept, which is simple, specific, measurable. It's attainable, realistic, not hurting the environment whatsoever, anyone, community, and it has to be timed, and we place that into your timeline.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see because I write in the book, the Strategic Goal Seekers Handbook, And this is a practical book, and I don't want people to sit down there and just read and put in the shelf. That's not what this book is about. This book was presented to me from, whether you want to believe this or not, I was put into my lap, actually. It was sent to me, put into my lap to share this because, again, we don't know what we don't know, and we weren't taught this when we were growing up. So setting the goals, that's why, why did that came, I wasn't going to mention that, but that just came out. So there must be a reason for that, to set the intention, and you're right. Set the
Mhm.
intention of what you want, and you have to do the work. Well, first of all, as we're getting close to wrap up here, where can they find you besides Roger?
Um, besides Rogers. Yeah, so well, my website is nerdmomnutrition.com. And I'm on LinkedIn, Kelly R. Ryan on LinkedIn. And yeah, for anybody who, I've got a present for your for your listeners, anybody who wants the six corporate health and wellness strategies that top corporations follow. I've got a link to that on my website. So you can feel free to come over, visit my website, and download that.
Absolutely. So what I will do, I will add that to the link of the resources attached to this for whoever is seeing this. We're here with Kelly Ryan, the Nerd Mom Nutritionist, holistic nutritionist. She's nerdy because just watching everything in the back there, she's a nerd, she's a gamer, she knows how to have fun. She loves Star Wars. She loves all these different types of movies. She lives and she breathes. May the force be with you. And boy, believe me, it's with her. As though as a mom, she's a mom of two younger kids. And definitely she is really molding them, have a show with her kids, which is really cool as well. And she is into nutrition and see how we can have a healthier lifestyle at home and at work and in corporate. What is it you want to leave with our audience? What is some of the, oh, let me ask you this. A quote besides may the force be with you, as I keep looking at here. What is yes, we're on audio, but I'm seeing her if you want to know. um what are one or two quotes that you have that keeps you going, inspiring you?
Oh, two quotes I have. Number one is from Jamie Oliver, which is real food doesn't have ingredients. Real food is an ingredient. I love that. I love Jamie Oliver. He's yeah. So and the other one is oh, what is it? Hold on, I gotta look this one up
That's okay.
because it's actually my favorite Harry Potter quote.
There we go again. That's the other nerd.
Yes,
That's it.
late quote. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. And that is Dumbledore who says that.
And what does that mean to you?
That means to me that, whether it's life or business or anything, sometimes it can feel like it's really stressful or hard or you're alone. But, if you try and remember the good things, where you put your focus is where you will go.
I just wrote an ebook. I don't like to use the word ebook, but most people call it that, a downloadable book. And it's talking about the thinking influence law, which is the thinking law.
Mhm.
And, I'm doing a series of different ebooks that come to mind, depends on what I'm doing, and just something just put together. And really and truly, it's not there to save your life. It's there as a resource to open the consciousness and the awareness to what you really focus on or think about or put in your brain. Because your brain your brain really uses 5%. So the consciousness uses 5%. It's your unconscious. This is like 95% of everything that
Yes.
you do. So it's like, you're driving and you're thinking about things, but you know you're on the right road, or you know you have to change a lane. And that's the unconscious driving there as well. So you gotta trust your gut that is guiding you, and what else can you possibly trust? So if
Yeah.
you know that you're thinking what you're supposed to be thinking and focusing, that's your subconscious, unconscious mind is doing the thinking and bringing and attracting what you want and what you need at the point in time that you're asking for it. As
Mhm.
appropriate basically mean you may not get it today, you may not get it tomorrow. You get it when you're ready and if you've done the work. So don't believe that this what Kelly has done here happen overnight. It was her plan, her calling, her destiny to do so. Has she has a roller coaster ride? Yes, she does. And yes, she did. So Kelly, what would you like to leave our audience with today? What message?
Start with, when it comes to health and wellness, whether it's personal or corporate, start with the easiest thing first that you can maintain during times that are difficult, and realize that Rome wasn't built in a day and you are not going to change everything overnight. So things will undoubtedly get hard when you're trying to change habits. And so that's why you pick the easiest one right now that you can maintain when things get busy or hard. And then once that becomes a habit, then work on the next one.
If your kids were here in the room with you right now, but you're not, what would they, as a message, because you probably know them, possibly say to the audience? Because you could live with kids. What are some of the one or two things that they constantly say or they believe in or they mention? If you were to mention something, it could be something very simple, because I'm sure they motivate you. I'm sure there's something they tell you all the time to keep you up. And it's something that they could probably tell you when you have your not so high moments. Is there anything, if they were here, that they can teach us?
Yeah, definitely. They're really happy for me to tell you the truth. But one thing that I love that they say, and I guess it's really me who always said it to them, but now they're saying it back to me. And that's that it's important to take care of your own health and wellness, because you're feeding the little soldiers in your body who are defending your castle, and your body is your castle.
Okay, which movie did that come from now?
Oh no, that's a Kellyism. That's
Oh,
100% me.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
you, the castle. Kelly, it's been great chatting with you, and I love the nerdiness, I love the honesty, I love the focus that you have, and the project that you're working with the kids. It's teaching them much more than they could possibly imagine. So I want to thank you for joining us on the Game Changer. You're making a difference. I can tell you, coming from corporate as well, it's something that's not done. We wait until it's too late
Yeah.
to see how we could intercept and say, what can I do for you? No, no, no. We want to do it the reverse and say, tell me, what can I do now to help you feel better, eat better? We just have to ask the questions. It could be
Mhm.
different. It could be different questions. The fact that just ask a question that will open up the conversation. Have maybe a half a day where you have an open door where your staff can feel comfortable without being judged or penalized to come in and say, this is what I'm going through. It can be as low as management, go up to upper management or beyond the CEO. Depends on how big a company is. But also, if you're confident in yourself, you will have the opportunity to say, you know what? I need some time out. I need to take some time out. I'm sorry. I need to do this. I would not be able to work, because at the end of the day, if you're not, don't have a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy anything, you're not good to anyone sitting in a room.
No.
So all we're saying to you is start with what goes into your body through your mouth, your air, what you smell, your five senses, what you see, and what you touch. It may be one might be a little more dominant than the other, but do know they all work together, because like I keep saying, your head is connected to your body and your body is connected to your head. So you got all these chemical. We see people running back with everyone in these shows have so much in common in the conversation sometimes. But the chemicals that's pumping in our brain is telling us, and pay attention to the messages and the feelings and the mood swings. It is saying something to us. So if you feel that you don't feel right and you know there's something, question it. To everyone out there who is in corporate, reach out to Kelly. Let her come to you. Fly her in. Let her come to you. The in-person is incredible. You never know how you will be rewarded for giving that 2 hours, I'm saying 2 hours, I don't know how long it is, to your staff to teach them something and teach yourself. So on that note, I would like to say, Kelly, thank you so much, Kelly Ryan. Go get Kelly's free download of her resource. I forgot the name of it, but we'll have the link there, the website. And thank you all for listening. And thank you for the comments and the shares. And please do continue. By doing so, we will be able to help you. And if Kelly sees a comment, she can also respond back to you. She'd be happy to do this. And to all our shows, all our guests would be happy to do this. So this is Dianne saying, on the Game Changers, this is why we're doing this. We want to bring this to you because we're making the difference that we're seeking. We're becoming the facilitators to be the change we're seeking and to fill that void. So thank you all for listening on the Game Changers, and I wish everyone all the best. And to the nerdy mom out there, all the nerdy moms, continue to be nerdy. Those are the fun guys. Take care. Have a good day. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Game Changers, sponsored by Olive Media Network, the Entrepreneurs Network, and the CEO. Hit us up online at thegamechangers.ca, mediaolive.ca, and think10.ca. That's think10.ca. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.